Hello. So today we are basically not discussing, but yeah, just reflecting upon CA, ACCA people in Pakistan when they get a training and their job opportunities basically abroad. Especially because I'm UK, so I'll be focusing the discussion on the UK side much more, but obviously it's relevant to any other country as well. Plus, this training, this session is focused on CACs for Pakistan, India, but equally, if somebody is moving to other country, more or less, the process is same. And again, because मैंने बहुत सारे messages calls over the years over the last 2 years रिसीव किए हैं when people ask यार मतलब कैसे जॉब होगी क्या होगा क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज है कैसे सर्च करें क्या करें and I thought it would be great I just put something together for everybody. So before going on the first one, so I guess the way I am going to talk about is again the life cycle the way it works. You should understand the firm, the culture, the opportunities, how to search jobs, resume, interview, and like the whole stage. So I'll just talk through that. But usse pehle, just a bit about myself. The people who know me, yeah, that's good. Otherwise, like for somebody who is just new to the channel, so I'm a accountant, chartered accountant from Pakistan, and then I work in a big four audit firm in UK, basically. And then obviously I've got things to share, which I have experienced the last 2 years, the process, the jobs, etc. And which is basically I'm going to do in this presentation or this session, basically. So going on the first thing, discussion about the firms. So there are lots of firms in the world, but there are big four firms which are commonly known as like big four firms being KPMG, being PWC, Deloitte, EY, and KPMG. Probably most of the countries, these are on the top four, but we have some other firms as well, which are big as well, being BDO and GT. There are many more firms in all the countries, but we are not really concerned right now about all of those because hiring so होती है in foreign countries, like they need to sponsor you basically, and these firms are able to sponsor you from outside. So we focus our discussion on these ones only. Comparing with Pakistan or let's say India as well, all of these firms are there as well. Pakistan flight Deloitte nahi hai, they recently left due to their own issues, but more or less these firms are everywhere, and these firms are ideal to work for. Literally, like these are the top brands of the world. So it's not like कि आपको लगता है कि this one is good, this one is bad. Again, I would say all 6 of these are really good. If you get an opportunity, you should go for it. Or shouldn't there be too much pick and choose unless you want something specific to work on, some specific role. It's a different discussion. Otherwise, I won't really see any pick and chooses good at all in this perspective. And again, once you are here or anywhere, you can switch jobs or as required. Obviously, not really required to switch jobs. Agar aap, yeah, if you are in a good shape, good role, you don't really need to switch anything at all. Like in terms of these firms, I guess Deloitte and PWC and race with each other in terms of revenues, both kind of try to be number one. Not really in terms of number one in terms of everything, but this is on the revenue side. I guess recently Deloitte got some 50 million or some billion, I don't remember, but a benchmark with the crosses recently. So firms keep moving. Every firm is progressing towards the higher numbers of revenue and profits overall, and yeah, and everyone is good. And again, just on these two appear in kind of a top entities, top firms, different surveys being different, good employer, best employer, brand value, revenue, etc. So yeah, all of these are really good. Now, moving forward, basically, what I want to talk about is जब उससे पूछा जाता है कि जॉब कहाँ पे हैं, कैसे हैं, how do we search about it, jobs कितनी हैं, scope है नहीं CA का HCA का outside, then yeah, I just put this one to talk about that. Basically, about opportunities. There are huge number of opportunities in UK, in many other countries as well. But let's just talk about UK. So there's quite a lot of hiring, basically in all aspects, because the world is really moving into different uh, aspects. The auditing landscape is changing, so you don't really have those like just numbers. You are much more than that now, being kind of a regulatory focused and then environmentally focused, climate change, like all the things is getting into the audit, and that's why things have been changing. Again, technology is uh, taking a big place in the auditing, and there's a huge demand on that side as well. And again, things have been going very complex over the years, different standards, etc. coming in. So technical rules की demand भी बहुत है. Advisory, treasury, analytics, credit risk, and obviously this is just the auditing division. Firms have the consulting divisions, firms have the other divisions as well. And for CACC guys, these roles are more relevant and not those. But again, if you got experience, you can always try. The easiest I guess area to get hired is proper auditing. So because you come with the audit experience from the country, 3.5 to 4 years experience at least, and then you can get that. And of course, when you're here, you can try switching. अगर आपको switch करना है basically. In terms of hiring levels, I guess quite a few hirings because last year was COVID number one, and hirings are freeze mostly. So this year, quite a few hirings at each company. And again, I said things have been changing rapidly in all aspects of auditing. You get technological advancements, you get issues coming in, you get regulatory updates, and everything just brings the audit towards more quality audit, and that needs people, that needs resources, that needs quality people. So there's always hiring going on. And again, post-Brexit, that was a huge one. After Brexit, there was a lot of movement, and I saw a lot of people move industry as well, with, leaving some gaps inside the firm. So again, last year there was little hiring, very less hiring. And this year, they're hiring quite a lot. But again, I guess there are always hirings in the firm. There's a significant turnover from firms at each time. So you always get that opportunity available. Again, for now, especially if you see any reports in the like world, UK, US, they are trying to find good talent because there's a lot of competition and the candidates are much less. So obviously, this gives you an edge. They can hire from outside as well, and otherwise, firms compete with each other as well to get the best candidates. Just one more thing to clarify: CACCA, both are more or less treated same. You just need to have relevant experience. And literally, I never said to anyone that I am a CA because it's my experience that counts. I spent 4 or 5 years somewhere past that counted for my job. Obviously, you need some qualification to be compliant or to get kind of accreditation, but your experience counts more, and you develop based on the experience, not really on what qualification you held at the start. And coming on next point being job requirements, I won't talk much about what job requirements for each job. Obviously, it just changes for every job. Some can be technical, some can be simple. But just talking about a few points which kind of makes you eligible at minimum, which basically you need experience of at least 3.5 years, and probably 4 years, I would say, because right now there are a large number of candidates out there. And even people who do the training from the farm, go to industry, and then again, kind of, so they build much more experience than you, or the people who are in the farm for 5-6 years at an AM level, at a manager level, and when they compete against you, then obviously they have the more experience and will get better edge. Obviously, firms do consider fresh candidates. They always hire the fresh ones as well. But again, you need some experience because uh, at a level of 3.5 to 4 years, you grow as a person in the professional life. You get the roles of team leading, client management, etc. And that's something expected from you when you come here to do those roles. So if anybody is trying to apply before 3 years, then it's not really ideal and you'll get a rejection, which is not good for your self-confidence in the very start. Second point being CA, ACCA required and partial candidates are not really. Uh, it's not like not really considered completely, but some entities, some firms have a policy to like kind of hire on AM level, so they don't really consider this part qualified from outside. Again, that kind of gives them some cost of sponsorship and yeah, visa, etc. So they prefer like somebody who is developed, who is qualified to bring him, develop him, rather than bringing some unqualified, which from unqualified from another country, not really UK, like ICW based, but other countries. So that's kind of a bit of different. But yeah, and so I would always say probably you need to be qualified to go to UK, but I know people who have come unqualified as well, but they come on much lower levels. Again, not ideal. Uh, for any kind of a job, I guess, as a auditing experience is mandatory here. The jobs related to audit, they ask for PCOB as well, right? Like recently, but again, if you're coming from there, you won't have that. So auditing experience basically, again, team leadership, client management, etc., and other things that we need to we're supposed to do. That always count. And again, if you apply a job, you must have the relevant work experience. That goes without saying. So this is that, and yeah, firms still provide sponsorships. Most of them. Last year was a bummer. COVID, they were not really hiring anyone from outside due to reasons, but for now they are basically, and they provide sponsorship. It's a process. I'll talk about that in the coming slides. But yeah, this is the process. So to conclude, opportunities are there. You just need to be kind of search for it, and then you can get through it if you have the sufficient experience, sufficient knowledge, relevant skills, and qualification. You can get through it. Going next, now when you are eligible, you need to search for the jobs, and it's not difficult because I remember I receive a lot of messages, a lot of calls like, Prem bhai, I need a job and मेरी job करवा दो. I don't know मैं कैसे करवा दूँ, like I don't know. You need to search for it at least. Like, what's your experience? Is there any job in the market that's good for you? How do you link with that job, and is your CV, like, you need to search for it. Obviously, I can help from my side once you come with something. So just a few bullets here. Number one, obviously, all the jobs are available on the firm's portals. So you just need to make accounts over there and create your profiles. They will need a lot of information, your personal information, your CV, your demographics, and then there are some requirements they ask for, like in terms of there's some I think personal information act here, like they require some information on your collect kind of, I guess, demographics or maybe something else, but they get information, but that's purely recording purposes. You put the experience, you put the education on the portals, you upload the CV. If not even upload the CV, just make the account and start searching for the jobs. LinkedIn. Personally, I got my job through LinkedIn in UK, so I see it as a very positive experience, and LinkedIn is a very, very good tool. And even it's amazing. You see how many people are posting the jobs and how many people are getting them. Couple of key points on LinkedIn is get connected to recruiters and people who are hiring, because recruiters tend to search for the profiles they need, and then obviously recommend internally. This is the CV I got and it looks good. A key thing, a filter I used when searching for jobs was like, let's say I want a job, I want to search a job in let's say banking audit. I search banking audit and then the firm's name. And when it shows the results, I just put the content filter or the post filter basically. That gives me the post. If somebody has posted on LinkedIn, like, okay, I am hiring, my team is hiring in this firm at this place. If you're interested, please get in touch. So you can get in touch with that person directly, and that person will recommend if you need to make any amendments in CV. You can give the CV to him or her, and this is an effective way. And again, it kind of improves your network with different people around the world. And it's an amazing tool. There's a little application in Pakistan of LinkedIn, but here it's widely used, and yeah, I regularly use this one. I'll leave my LinkedIn handle as well, just in the description of the video. So yeah, if you want to connect with me, feel free to. Third point is not really a separate point. Again, kind of a references. References are not a bad thing, right? Shouldn't really treat it as a bad thing. It's one of the way people you can get a job, and it's well appreciated. Even the firms have the policies. If you refer someone, you can get some compensation for that, which is yeah fairly good because you are putting some effort for firm to bring some good candidates. So it's a win-win for both. You ask someone to refer you, and then that person refers you, so you get a job. That person gets a bonus. It's a win-win. And but again, you need to see you know the people around you, like who can refer you. And the person you know can read your CV, help you kind of kind of rephrase it or whatever, like make change, so you might not get that rejection, or even there's a little less chance of rejection if it goes through referral, because it's going through an internal process where CV is already screened before going to the recruitment team. We just uh, yeah, and kind of brings more reliability. Okay, this has come from business, uh, and again, I guess, yeah, and yeah, for a referrer, I guess it's not really good for a referrer who refers, but again, obviously there are guidelines. You can't really like support 100% the applicant in the process. You need to comply with independence and other things in the whole process. But again, that's not what this session or this video. There are other ways recruitment agencies. I have seen recruitment agencies. I have been approached by one when I was searching for the job. It's not ideal, to be honest. Recruitment agencies do work in a way. I think for industry, probably it's much better, but firms really prefer direct applications. And even I saw on some of the posts by some of the job posting by some of the firms, they clearly mention we prefer direct applications. So don't really try. I won't suggest it's a good way unless you have tried everything else, and then this is the only way you left. Otherwise, no, not recommended way forward. Coming next, resume, not a resume session, so I'm not going to touch upon how to create a CV. That's most of you must have created CV at some point, not very thoroughly, but of course it took some good place, and you can obviously do that. I might make a separate video, not now, but yeah, we'll show that. Couple of things to consider just in any CV, I would guess. CVs, like number one, CVs are rejected. Most of the time, people say they submitted and CVs are rejected in a few days. What really happens is your CVs are too generic, and it happened with me as well in the start. If the CV is too generic and doesn't really link with the job you're applying, so because at a time when recruiters are watching the CVs, they get like hundreds and thousands of CVs together. So whoever CV is kind of more aligned to the job and has the best experience, obviously they get the call, and the process starts, and they get rejected. This again shows applicant is not really interested, and not interested, but not really putting the efforts where the person should be actually doing that. Second point being, obviously read through the job description, job requirements, and CV should be personalized for each job. Don't need to personalize too much. Basically, like there's job requirement and just put all the lines in CV, which is blatantly wrong. You can't do that because that obviously one is wrong and you will get caught, like not caught physically, but again, when they will interview you, you won't have that knowledge, and that would be a painful experience, not very good. So yeah, no, don't do that. But again, if it's experience, they think about, like, let's say you are applying for a job which says the international audits, it might involve traveling outside, etc. So if you have got experience of international traveling and you did not have that in CV, then you can put that in CV as well, like just to highlight I had that. So this will just put a bit of kind of, yeah, emphasis on the CV. About cover letters, so it has kind of faded its importance because CV is kind of a suppose CVs to cover letters to give the initial information, but for the firms, portals or any such places, we don't really need it because the application forms or the systems actually kind of sometimes come with a box like cover letter, and otherwise they take all information in different places. So cover letter doesn't really have a kind of that kind of importance anymore. But yeah, small cover letter, again, not harmful to anyone, but myself, I don't use cover letter at all. Uh, Next point being length of CV. Uh, Obviously, everybody has different experience. Somebody got too much, somebody got too less, but CV is going over 2 pages, kind of be tedious to read, and I like personally, I would kind of prefer shorter and smarter CVs, which give me points. Okay, this guy has done this. I can think of this, and not kind of very lengthy, more than 2 or 3 pages, and then kind of words too much words. This would just be difficult to read, and people will lose interest in their CV. Because CV is giving a first impression, right? You don't want to kind of be bad. And the point which I won't say right or wrong, but I try to avoid putting my client's name in CV. Like I give the sectors, like I worked in, or I could say I worked on the bigger, one of the big banks in banking sector in Pakistan, let's say. So this is how I kind of define, but again, not too much on this one, no right or wrong. It might depend on kind of the regulations or requirements in different countries. So coming from Pakistan, you are not really, yeah, you shouldn't be too bothered with that side. Next point being make CVs presentable. Probably PDF always works for me, and I just prefer the CVs in there. Words are a no, and even presentation formats. Probably, yeah, the PDFs are always the best. And again, important point, and I know people who miss this point, especially example. So when you collect the application, you might be asked to avoid putting something on your CV directly. That might be due to the regulations or their operational policies, etc. But yeah, make sure of that. Because the example here is some firm asked to remove date of birth from the CV before submission, and I know people who have submitted the CVs with the date of birth. Again, I don't know what application that does make as of now, but again, you don't really want to discomply with any requirements because you are looking for a job. Next point being no over exaggeration in CVs. Uh, of course, you do the work. I do the work. I know I have put things over there, but if you kind of keep putting things you haven't really done, and that gives you a bad impression when you. Number one, if you are flunked in an interview, when you are asked some tough questions on those areas, then yeah, you are just over there, yeah, washing the face, nothing else. That's just not ideal. And even if you get hired somehow, when somebody, even the person who interviews you, ask something and you don't really have a clue about that, that's just not really good for you in the long run. So don't do that. Get the series review from someone experienced if you are applying for the first time abroad, because when you join the firm, you come from education background and without any corporate experience, like at least nothing major. And of course, you work 4 years, you know how to do things, how to put the CV. But again, if you're applying abroad, you probably get in touch with someone experienced who's outside there who has worked, who knows how she works and who got a job. So yeah, get it done. yeah, last one, CV creates a great impression. You should be making it very presentable and not really something bad. Going next, if CV is processed, of course, you go on interviews, and if it's not processed, yeah, probably I guess the same process and need to improve the CV. And yeah, search the jobs, etc. It's the same process as we said a couple of slides ago. But CV is accepted, then of course it goes to assessment interviews. Not going to share any tips on assessments or interviews in terms of preparation, because that's I'm not supposed to do like that way, like what comes in or what I'm not supposed to do that, and I won't do that. And again, this is not a session for interview preparation. I might have some separately, but I guess the purpose of this slide or this point is just to illustrate like what are the key things you should note. Basically, if we start from point one, every firm has their own process for assessment interviews, so you need to understand how every firm works. Some have the assessment and then video interviews and then physical interviews, or some just have those physical, not physical, but like online interviews basically over the Zoom or Teams, etc. Whatever suits them. Second point being, give yourself time to prepare, because especially if you are coming from outside or giving the interview for first time or the initial few times, and then number one, you are under the pressure because you want a job, and this is one of the big opportunity for you, even receiving the interview call. So you don't really want to mess with that. Number two, you are non-native English, so there's always a bit of pressure unless you are very fluent in that. So I had a bit of pressure on myself because I was really good at English. At some time back in the past, of course, that's improved recently, but just talk about the past when I was giving interviews. So there's a bit of pressure on that side as well. And then again, multiple factors depending on everyone. You just need to give yourself some time to prepare. And of course, let's say assessment. Some companies, some firms give 7 days, some give 5 days. So you need to check them and again prepare for them. If you find issues with timing, you can ask for better time, because I know a friend who got like 3 days for any assessment. I submitted his CV and then he got 3 days for assessment. But again, those were not enough due to personal reasons. Then of course you have to ask recruiter to extend the timelines to get that done. So of course they are very helpful in this regard. So you can always just reach out to the recruiters and they will definitely help you. And a third point being, which is not really common over there, we don't really have slightest idea, but companies here, firms here are very good at it, kind of avoiding any adjustments. Like somebody might not be feeling very comfortable with, let's say, due to any condition, like you say, I can't be comfortable with maybe video interviews. I don't know, probably anything at all. But if you have any condition, you want any accommodation, this is more actually in the physical interviews. So if you want any kind of environment, you can interview. And this is more of the people who are have a bit of disability, maybe mental or maybe something else like autism or anything else. So they are good at doing that. So if you need any flexibility, even in terms of timings, right? Because you can't really do in the morning, and they will try to accommodate you. We can talk about that. And a good point, which basically people sometimes fear, is they might be biased against you. It can be, of course, in the mind, religion bias, nationality bias, place you are from, your English might not be good. They might not appreciate you, your presence might not be good, or even the place you are getting interview from might not look good, and they might judge you from that. But again, no, thousands of people join from different countries based on their talent, and hiring managers are trained to avoid any unconscious bias, basically, and taking interviews and evaluating candidates. So it's a whole process. I'm not going into how hiring manager thinks, but I know for a reason you are trained very well. Do not let any bias in between when you are kind of doing those decisions. Number of interviews, usually two. One can be digital, like you are given some time and some questions you need to record the answer, you put it, and then a person reviews them when they're free, like over there. So it's kind of a one, which is kind of a very latest trend. But again, more or less two interview and one HR conversation that starts, and then of course also offer then one more discussion on offer. But yeah, this is more or less it. Again, prepare for the interview. You need to practice about it if you are doing very initial interviews, because just after coming from firm, you might not be good at interviews or even like kind of a good conversation. I guess one thing which is not here, what just came to mind was interview. When we give the interview for the first time from over there's a bit of pressure, right? You want things to be perfect, like you want it to be very interview type stuff. But when you see here, interviews are more of a conversation type. They try to know about you, know about your experience. It's more of a two-way. You can ask about stuff from their side. But of course, I know this mindset might not be developed over there when you're giving an interview, because there's a bit of pressure and you haven't really been in that environment the way they work here. But again, yeah, try to practice for it ahead of interviews. Even after interviews now, probably take 1-2 weeks usually. So give recruiters time, don't really kind of push them again and again. But of course, if they don't come back to you, then you can ask for them, or maybe ask the referral who referred you. They might follow up. Of course, they won't withhold the decision because of the confidentiality, but they might push the recruiters basically to kind of respond to you. So that can happen. And I guess last point, very important. If you're successful, well done. We'll go to the next process. But if you're rejected, definitely key to get the feedback. That's very important. And they do give good feedbacks, because the recruiter, the manager, hiring manager, when they evaluate you, they document their feedback about you and then communicate to recruiters, and recruiters record them records and they will provide that to you. So definitely always ask that you can use that feedback to improve in the next interview. Coming on the offer stage, multiple offers. Some people are lucky. I got multiple as well. Then of course, pro and cons list, especially multiple countries involved and multiple roles. You just need to kind of put salary, one bracket, cost of living, the facility, the role, the team, the reviews about the team. If you know anybody like manufacturers, just do your own thing, and then if you proceed to offer stage, and then a few things to consider. You always get a verbal offer before written offer, because that's just they don't want to kind of give you some offer and then get negotiation and again get the offer revised, etc. So they will always come with a verbal offer to discuss it, and then if agree with that, they will come with a written offer. So yeah, that's this one. And then at this point, not really relevant to everyone. Somebody might have very much experience, very high experience, somebody low experience. So just a limited point, you might not have high negotiation power back there. Because this is your first job, you apply for the first job, and you want to go outside, and you might accept even little less salary unless you got multiple job offers. So not much, but yeah, try to kind of do your research and understand what's the competitive salary and push for that. Of course, the recruiters won't really go higher than competitive salaries for outside candidates unless they got some good experience. But have a research to understand what offer is about, like the level of benefits. So you receive the letter, the contract. You need to read thoroughly your benefits, your restrictions, liabilities, etc. Like everything. Contracts are quite a few pages to understand. Of course, they might impact you at some time in the future. Uh, and if you get any queries, recruiters are more than happy to talk about them and give you their opinion or resolve your queries, any of them on the contracts, offers, etc. I guess once you're given the contract, they expect you to accept it. So probably 1 week or maybe 2 weeks. I don't remember. Depends on different places. But I think I had it myself for 2 weeks to accept it. And if not accepted, offer will lapse. So as said, I had multiple offers, so I did not accept the other one and lapse automatically. So yeah, just make sure you accept the offer. Last point on the offer stages, they will offer a couple of joining periods because they need to apply the sponsorship, and of course on the business need, you will be hired on specific dates. Not like joining dates throughout the year, but again a few dates they will like ask you, okay, when you want to join. Probably funds are flexible, but again, if you are needed urgently for your role, then they might push you a bit earlier. But overall, concluding, if you see the offer, probably discuss with not like in terms of monetary benefit, maybe your queries with someone experienced as well who has been there, who can guide you, and of course ask a recruiter any questions. After offer, this onboarding stage, that's quite well important in terms of how to proceed after you accept the offer. Of course, your onboarding team will get in touch with you, send all the documents, all the details, etc. Even some documents as well in terms of the whole process. So that will be detailed. I guess here I will just be talking about very briefly about some points. The hiring will involve the sponsorship process. So in the past, UK used to have Tier 2 visa. Now it's replaced by skilled worker visa. Any of these visas require a sponsorship certificate form. Your form. Firms are kind of appropriate employers, so they usually get a sponsorship for you. That's on the part of firm. As soon as you agree a timeline of joining, they kind of plan it backwards to get a sponsorship certificate for you for in a relevant month. A couple of other bits and pieces. IELTS is usually required if you're in English-speaking countries. I think at my time it was requirement was 4 or 5. 4.5, I don't remember right now, pretty low, and I got probably 7 as well, 7.5 without even studies. So again, not a bummer, but again, you just need to kind of pass that. Again, I think there's always a pressure in the IELTS as well, even though you know you can do it, but this is about the job. You are applying the sponsorship on one side, and you definitely need to pass the IELTS because the results come up to 30 days, maybe probably 1 month. So again, if you don't pass, which is highly unlikely, but if you don't pass, then the whole process gets difficult for you. So you always need to work through it. And I think IELTS is effective for 2 years, and especially for UK, they have the UK VI IELTS. Maybe there's some different name, but they accept only that one. So make sure it's UK, you need to have that IELTS. And you can get the IELTS done earlier as well, right? It's valid for 2 years. I think, yeah, it's valid for 2 years, so you can get that early as well if you want to. Otherwise, yeah. TB screening, other health tests, UK, if you come to UK, you need to get tested for TB, which would be easy. And then, of course, if you're going to other countries, you probably need more detailed checkup, so you can get it done on approved laboratories. You will get the information when applying the visa. Visa application, you need to do it by yourself to online systems, which is very easy, and you need to go for biometric and other verifications, some places as they require. Visa takes few weeks to process. Mine took 2 weeks probably. Takes 2, 3, 4, probably max a month, I would say. So not too much. The moving actually involves a lot of cost. Basically, again, talking about UK, you will be paying your visa cost, your health insurance charges, health surcharge charges, TV costs, IELTS costs, the plane tickets, like lots of costs, like 3K pounds, I guess, at least. So you need to bear that from your pocket in the start. Of course, there's investment in the start, but firms provide kind of reimburse most of it anyways. Some firms might not be giving all of it. So again, depends on the firm, but more or less they will kind of provide mostly. Again, even if you spend 1,000 pounds on yourself, you got a good career ahead. So shouldn't really be bothering too much about it. Total process takes around 3 months for UK job. It's kind of a very average. Some people come to 2.5, but not like 1.5 months is too less. So 2.5, 3 is kind of a process. You get a sponsorship, which takes time. Then they allocate it to you. Then you apply for visa, and then visa gives you some timeline to enter. Visa gives you 1 month timeline to enter. So 2-3 months process. In the meantime, you can do IELTS as well. Just to make sure. Again, any queries on any stage, your onboarding team is happy to help at all times. So you can just get in touch with them, and yeah, they are happy to help. Upon coming to UK, some firms provide you temporary stay for 2-3 weeks because they bring to you and you're coming in a new country. So they have a policy in place, like if somebody comes to you, you provide them the stay, the firm's expense basically, and for some others, you might need to do it yourself. That's the difficult part, right? You're coming to a different country and they don't provide you that facility. So you might need to get a hotel or maybe some friend who helps you find the place. So it just depends on your individual circumstances. And I think one other thing probably is when you come to UK or a country, you need to go from airport to whatever place you are. Again, if you are new, you don't know anything that is typical. The firm is providing transport from airport, then all right. Otherwise, you need to make plan for that as well. Going forward, I guess around two more slides. So I guess not too much here. It's just kind of work life is much better, to be honest. You don't work too. Of course, there are times you need to work. Depending on which season, everybody's the auditor. Who watching this, or they know the crazy times, especially after year end. But overall, much better work life. You are appreciated and recognized for the efforts you put, and even rewarded as well adequately upon these. Here, of course, you all might always hear there's a bias on races or anything at all. But it can be outside, and there is some things outside. Of course, not every person is bad, not every white person is bad or good, not every brown guy is good or bad. But firms don't really tolerate any such attitude. So it's kind of a zero tolerance policy in almost all the firms. So yeah, you don't really need to care about anything on that respect. There's always a huge focus on your, I think, career development, the coaching, and it's kind of a progression they set for you. Of course, you are the driver of that. They won't really drive for you, but they will provide good guidance, very good coaching, and the ways you can develop. So yeah, good for your own. There's quite a lot of support available in terms of, let's say, many areas. One of the examples I mentioned here is mental health support. A lot of people have different issues, disability, sickness, mental problems, maybe depression, etc., or any ethical problem, etc. Can be anything. But there are hotlines available to talk about anything. So, yeah, it consider different things, but everyone has the facilities of some kind, and then, or at least they can refer you to some good place. I think, and the way of working, it has been very agile post-COVID, and this is the framework. Every company, I think, not only firms but the companies are looking to as well, being more flexible in future. And I know, like even all the firms, being Deloitte, PWC, KPMG, and EY, have announced different policies. So You might have news Deloitte said about it's up to employees basically how they plan their day. If they want to come to office, want to work from home, we trust our employees. So there's like this level of trust on employees, like they will make the decision from their perspective. Some firms have like come on 2 days, work from home 3 days. But again, that's not a hard and fast deadlines or timelines. Of course, depending on the individual team, your circumstances, etc. So yeah, need to be to understand that one. There's another thing, I guess it's more on the dress code of the day. If you're working in the office, I don't know for every firm, but some do kind of give you option to kind of dress comfortably, not like in suits, etc. Because they want to do work and your clothing doesn't really affect your work if you're in the office and not doing any client meetings or the client side. So yeah, they are flexible in that respect. It's not like more of the bunking some myths, but it's just a few things. Maybe somebody fears or thinks in a way. So just put points. One being the overseas candidates less higher than local candidates. I won't say too much. Like it's truth to some extent, but not too much. The number one point being local candidates can be hired very quickly without any sponsorship. Like there's no process of onboarding somebody like the way it's onboarded from outside. You need to go through the whole process of like getting somebody from outside. So that's much easier for local. So yeah, that's why they can get hired. And COVID time is freeze on out. Well, it was more or less freeze on total hiring as well for some time, but there was definitely a freeze on overseas hiring for some time due to travel restrictions and then some other reasons. But yeah, that's why they had a preference of the local candidates. But of course, the hiring managers do hire overseas candidates. I know for a fact that you are not allowed, like, you're trained not to create any bias between local or overseas candidates, and not really consider this factor when you do the assessment. You are quite to assess on the sort of skills of the CV, etc. So that's just not the way. And you can see there are thousands of people who are working outside, myself included, and if I see about myself, they don't really differentiate. There's good progression over the years, and in no way local candidates are given preference to overseas candidates. Again, there can be some people at some places, but not like ideal working environment. This should not be clear. Will you be treated less due to religion, appearance, sex, or any other personal matter? No, you are not supposed to be treated less. You are supposed to be treated equally, ignoring these aspects. And well, I won't say ignoring, but these factors should really be considered when assessing your competency. But there's a fun focus right now in terms of what diversity and inclusion approach was kind of even focus on these factors, kind of giving high importance to those candidates which are different than kind of the usual mix, just to kind of bring the world, bring the company, the firm being more inclusive, not like kind of exclusive to one side. So they appreciate that, and this is the focus on recently. But of course, in any case, you need to be representable for a corporate job. You can't just be like coming bad or like not like let's say appearance one. You need to be a proper groom, like you need to for a corporate job, not only pajamas, to be honest. So that's the one. And then some people think they are rejected intentionally, even though the interview is been great, and of course that's in their mind. It might not be true at all. Yeah, so I guess your interview is really assessed thoroughly before go for the comments. And those comments are of course provided to you as well. So if you think you are kind of rejected, you can always get the feedback, proper feedback from recruiters, and then of course you can work on them. But I won't say anybody really rejects you without any purpose. there's always some assessment, and of course you are kind of competing against the best. So if you're not the best in that time or that matter or that job, so you get a rejection, even though you had a relatively good interview, or somebody else had a much better interview than you. So they won't progress with you, of course. Candidates, and the last point being candidates with native English language being other than which, well, this point, like, it's related to me as well, not non-native English person, and with if English being not really good at some point back in time, so I had a kind of a pressure in mind, like what will happen, like things will move forward. No, that works anyways, but again, you, the people who hire you, they want your skills, the way you talk about yourself, the way you present yourself, and not like how fluent you are in English. Of course, English is a language you need to talk in, and you need to be very clear in that, and you need to be able to present yourself. But not like you need to speak like those native English people. That's not what you're supposed to do. And if you are trying to do that yourself, I want to appreciate that, but you're just saying yourself, which is not really ideal. There can be any other points as well. It's just limited here. I guess this all in all for this whole video, there are always fears in everyone's mind when they are applying for the job for the first time, due to different reasons I mentioned. And it's always helpful to get help from someone who has been through this whole process. They will definitely help you. And I assure you, like, if anybody reaches out to me, I'll definitely give you a hand in any matter possible for me. So that's more like it. Yeah, if you got any comments, any issues, feel free to put in comment section, or if you know personally, you can of course reach out to me as well. That's all from me for this video. Have a good day, and yeah, if you like the videos, this one or maybe others one, please have a look on other videos like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Bye.